Growler Model Painting. This is another terrain tutorial to go with the playlist. And this time we're going to be building a stone wall. So as you can imagine, it can be used across all gaming types like Warhammer 40k, fantasy, or even games like Lord of the Rings or War Machine. So I'm just going to go through what you're going to need to get started. So the best thing to use is start with some nice thin balsa wood and cut it into a shape that you want your base of your wall to be. So I'm not using this piece, it's just an example, but this is the type of wood you'd use because it's really nice and solid, easy to transport around, won't get damaged. Once you've got your base, next you're going to want some high density polystyrene. So you can pick this up from any art shop. Can be a bit pricey, but you can get a great big chunk of it for about £20. So it's worth it in the end because you get so much of it you'll never need to buy it again. And with that, you're going to want to kind of try to chop it up into relatively the same size cubes like these. These are not the ones we're using, this is just an example. And you can kind of, if you want, you can be quite creative and cut the edges a bit to make it look like they're really old and stuff like that. Other things, cork. Now this is a sheet of cork. You can pick this up at any local art shop and you can just tear it and you get a really nice effect like that, and you can use it for even your miniatures bases as well, but we're going to use it just to complement the wall. So you'll need that. You'll need a little bit of sand, not a great deal, but we'll need that. And you'll need some PVA bond as usual. And tool wise, you'll need obvious tools like Stanley knives. You'll need a paintbrush for later, and you'll just need some paints, and depending on what colour you're going to paint the wall. Other things you could use that we're going to use, but you don't have to. I've got a bag of kind of base and material here. We're going to use this on around the base of the wall just to make it look quite mossy. And you could even use some of the grass from Games Workshop or the slate like that. So let's get everything ready and get started. Alright, so once again Alice is going to take over with the build and I'm just going to commentate through it so we can get through it a bit quicker. So we've just got some PVA glue in a tub there, there's no water in that, it's 100% PVA glue. And we've got our little base cut out of balsa wood there. So first step is to take your individual bricks and decide which ones you want on the bottom layer of the wall and which ones you want on the top layer of the wall. So we've lined them up accordingly, and then we're just going to stick them down on onto the piece of wood. So just apply the glue to the wood or to the brick, it doesn't really make a difference, and then just line them up exactly how you want them to be. And remember for the top layer of bricks or stones, make sure they're off centre so it actually looks like a wall and you haven't just piled stones on top of each other. So we'll be back when this is done. Okay, so we've constructed the wall, and now this is an optional choice, but we're going to show you how to do it. We're going to use some cork to create some little features next to the wall. So these are just going to be bits of rubble, things like that. And the best way to use cork is to rip it up rather than using a knife. So you can just use your fingers, tear it up, it makes it for a really nice realistic feel to it. And then you can just apply that straight on around the wall, absolutely however you want. And you can build some really nice little features out of it. So I'm just going to get a little close up for you so you can see what we've kind of went for. You can layer sheets of cork up and they stick really well to each other. So this is just kind of building some nice texture before we put the sand on. So we'll be back in a second. Alright, so we've just finished doing the cork, and what we have done, I'll give you a close up, is just spread PVA glue all over the main areas, all over the base, some parts of the cork and the lower bricks of the wall. So now we'll put it in a box ready to put some sand on it. We're using dry sand, it's just normal sand found in a local DIY store, and we're just going to sprinkle that all over the place. You don't have to be precise because it's only going to stick where you put the glue. And it's really good idea to get a box like this, just an old box, and you can just keep it for all your sanding, so you don't have to take anything outside. You can just do it in the house, and any mess is contained within the box. So it's a really efficient way to do things. So we'll just finish the sanding off, and we'll be back in a second when we've removed all the excess sand. Okay, so now this is completely dry, we're going to start with the painting stage. So the first thing you want to do is not spray paint it. You want to prime it with black paint. We're just going to use black paint on the wall section because that's the only section that's going to be grey. So the reason you don't use spray paint is the propellant in the spray paint actually melts the high density polystyrene. So it's important to use just acrylic paint, mix a bit of water with it, and you can get a really nice consistency to just prime the wall. So we'll be back in a second when we've done that. Alright, so we've just base coated all brick areas, all the areas that are going to be grey in black, and now we're going to base coat the base of the wall and the cork bits in a dark brown kind of colour. We're just using acrylic paint, the same kind of paint that you'd expect to buy at an art shop. And this is just the base coating section, so this is going to hold all the kind of texture onto the base as well as giving it colour at the same time. It is optional to mix a bit of, if you're running low on paint, you can actually mix PVA glue with water with the chosen colour, and this will seal it really nicely, but it's usually used on bigger scale, so for large boards, and it lightens the colour up slightly. So if you're low on paint, it is advisable to mix it with a bit of PVA because it'll make the paint go a bit further. So we'll be back when we finish this bit. Okay, so we've finished the base coating of the wall. Now we're going to start layering some nicer colours on. So we've mixed up a slightly lighter brown, and we're just doing patches of that brown in areas of the wall. This is going to be nice just to break the tones of the dirt up, and just create lighter patches over the darker ones. So after this, there's only a few more steps of painting, like dry brushing, and we'll do a bit of work on the wall, and we'll put some finishing touches on with the weeds and the moss and stuff like that. So we'll be back in a second once we've done this layering. Okay, so now all the layering kind of paint's finished on the dirt section. I'm going to focus on dry brushing the wall. I'm going to use a range of greys, starting from the darkest of greys, heading up to much lighter greys, just by mixing black with white. And we're going to use a really nice dry brush, so you want your brush to be completely dry when you're doing this. You want to be nice and bushy. Get very little amount of paint, rub most of the paint off the brush before you apply it to the model. So it's just getting lightly brushed over, picking up all that nice texture. So we'll be back when we've finished this bit. So I've just finished dry brushing the walls then. As I've said, I've built up with loads of different tones of grey. So now we're going to focus on dry brushing the dirt bit. We've just used obviously lighter browns, so mixed some yellow into the original browns that we've used and made some nice lighter colours that we can just dry brush over some sections. So I'm just going to let the video roll so you can watch some of this bit just to get the idea of dry brushing. So removing most of that paint off the brush before actually applying it to the model, and then just really lightly brushing over all of this different sections like that, just to create a really nice sandy effect. So you're picking up the top of all the sand with the brush, you're getting a really nice texture. So I'll just let camera roll to just watch this bit. Okay, so we've finished painting it now. We've went for kind of a clay slash peat kind of dirt, and then obviously the grey stone wall. So we're just going to give a kind of a close-up 360-degree view of it. So first I'll get a closer, so you can see the kind of detail that's in the dry brush in there. I'll just slowly turn it around, just so you can get a kind of view for the kind of shadow and shading that you can attempt to put into it. So Now the only thing left to do is to put some greenery on. So for this we've got a range of different things. We've got some Games Workshop grass, which we're going to use for kind of a moss effect. We might put that straight onto the wall. We've also got some of this kind of mossy kind of stuff. Not quite sure what it is, but it's going to look really good when it's on there. So to do this, we're going to use some PVA glue, and you can just apply the glue straight onto the wall itself. We're going to apply it at the base of the wall, so next to some rocks or something like that. So we'll just get prepared to do that and be back in a second. Okay, so we've picked the areas that we're going to put the mossy bits, and now we're just going to show application of it. So just going to get whatever you're using and just push it into the glue to make sure it sticks. Get right in there. And that gives a really nice kind of bush fauna kind of effect like that. And another technique you can use is moss. So you're going to get your Games Workshop grass. You can use a nice green kind of grass, not dead grass, but anything that's got a nice green colour to it. You can just apply glue to your rock, and then you can just sprinkle that grass onto whatever area you want the moss to look like it's growing. Do as much or as little as you like. We're just going to keep it to a minimum, really, and create a nice kind of effect. So we'll just wrap this video up in a second and we'll show a finished showcasing. Okay, so this is the complete finished product with all the different bits of fauna and moss and stuff like that on. So we're just going to do a little 360-degree showcase so you can get an idea for how it should look. We are thinking of doing some, we do commission painting on the models. We are thinking about starting to create commission terrain, so if anyone's interested in any terrain that could be custom made to the way they want it, we could make it here and then post it out as we do with the models. So we'll create commission terrain along with the commission model paint job to match the models and their kind of environment that they'd be found in. So hope you like the video, hope you like the tutorial, and subscribe to the channel. Got plenty more different videos. Thanks for watching.